Good morning and welcome to Plannercraft. My name's Ian and today I'm looking at doing some Q&As with Canvas. So if anybody has any questions or anything they'd like to ask.
Doesn't just have to be Canvas,
Doesn't have to be Canvas, no. I'll take anything to a certain extent.
I'm in the background.
Within reason.
I was going to say, I'm in the background if he needs me.
Yeah. Natty is here, but she's busy doing DT work, so she's left me to deal with you today.
Yeah, so I can't show you what I'm doing on the stream, unfortunately.
So, morning Thea, morning Deb. Deb says, "Oh, Hannah." Yeah, she's hiding in the background. She is. So I thought while I'm waiting for my first question, I'll do a bit of a tour of Canvas, and if anybody has any questions whilst I'm doing it, they can ask. Or if there's a question that pops up, I can see the comments at the moment, so I'll hopefully keep an eye on those as they come up.
So, who would you say would use Canvas then, sweetie?
Who would use Canvas? So, I'm using the desktop version of Canvas over the online version. Morning Heather. Morning Carol.
Ian breaks Canvas.
I don't break Canvas. So going back to what I was saying. Canvas is for basically any level, I suppose. I mean, it's the desktop version. I would say is easier than for the beginner. It gives you the option of just drag and dropping files or shapes and words, and they're nice and easy to resize. It has its quirks. It also has its useful bits. So there's lots of things that it can do. There's also a lot that it can't, so you have to be careful of what you're asking it to do. If you're looking at doing really complex projects, then that's where you might start to struggle a little bit. But it is quite powerful for what it is.
And it is free.
And it's free. It doesn't cost anything, so it's free. Carol's asked if we can ever work out which is online and desktop Canvas. Okay, so desktop Canvas is the one that's on your computer installed. Are you using Affinity tomorrow for Carol? On Saturday, sorry.
Depends on if anybody else books. If nobody else books, then yes, I'll be using Affinity.
There you go. So the easiest way to know which version you're in, this is your desktop version of Canvas. It looks like this, and this will be the one that you click on, your icon on your start menu or your desktop to get into. If you're using the online version, you will have gone through a web browser. Morning Linda, morning Tracy, and you would have typed in
Canvas Workspace.
Let me show. Can I show?
Yeah, you should be able to.
So that's open.
For passwords and things, yeah.
Oh yeah. So Canvas Workspace. So canvasworkspace.brother.com. So this is your online version. Look at that. Tick the box that says stay logged in. So this is what you originally signed up with to get your machine registered.
It's also where you activate your activation codes rather than the desktop version.
The PC version of Canvas Workspace has been upgraded. Really? Oh. So this is the online version, and when you go into new, you have the main difference is this big purple button at the top, which is the easy way to say which one it is. I mean, lots of people say they don't like this version, but it does have its uses, and the one big advantage is if I drop a square onto the desk, I can set that to cut, I can set that to cut and draw, or I can set it just to draw. And to me that is a bigger advantage that you get than you do with the other. Why is it not letting me select?
There you go. You just have to wait till it goes out.
What do I need? Properties.
Yep.
There we go. So you have the options in here of your cut and draw line, your cutting line or draw line, and it also has your fill pattern. You have that on the other one, but it's one of those that it actually gives you the
Option to do both.
option to do both, which your desktop version does not. Jesus, I can't handle no layers. That's my problem. Morning,
Yeah.
Maggie.
The layers are so handy.
The layers are so handy in the other one, but that's your basic one. And it also, when you go to download, it downloads. It gives you the option to send it via ScanNCut transfer all the way. Morning, Louise. So that's the one. I will be using the desktop one rather than that one though today, because I do prefer the desktop to that one. So let's close that. That can leave page. Oh, let me get rid of that a second, because you don't need to see that. Disappearing infinity of Streamlabs with all the comments on. Nobody wants to see that. So,
Any questions to get started with?
any questions that anybody has to start me off with, or shall I carry on with a little tour and show around?
Do you want to just say about Braille before you go too far?
What were you saying about Braille?
You read what I said.
That you tend to only use it on an old Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, only ever on the old Mac.
Okay. We have an echo. Why do I have an echo? You shouldn't have an echo.
That's weird.
So, Maggie asked just before we came on live about using a brayer on your mats to get card to stick. If you're using an Artistix mat, you shouldn't need a brayer to make your card stick. It should attach quite nicely without any need of a brayer. If it's starting to lose its tack, okay. Then you can use a lint roller. What's the latest version of Canvas? I think this one is up to date, so let's have a look. Software is the latest. Let's use for doesn't tell me what.
Go to about.
So 2.6.0 is your latest version. Is the latest version. So for those who haven't seen Desktop Canvas or don't know it very well, I shall do a quick tour while I'm waiting for any questions or comments to come up. So over here we have our, I'll start at the very top corner. So this brings up your Canvas projects and patterns. So if you do want to use any of those, you can go into them and just put them onto your desk. So that gets rid of that one. And then our next one here is our shapes. So you have all your basic shapes. So you've got your squares, your rectangles, polygons, triangles, circles, ellipses, hearts, stars, arrows, and others. Breathe. Lots of those. So you also have lots of useful shapes down the bottom here, good for doing your jigsaw puzzles, tags, anything like that that come up. Lots of other funky things that you can play with. So you've got your flowers and various other bits. So that one you could do as a flower and just rotate it so you get your sticks, if you wanted to. Ow!
Sorry.
Yeah, me. And then you got your arrow starts, fuzzy hearts, and all sorts of funky things. And to put one of these on your mat, just click it once, and it'll automatically put a 10cm square or 10cm, whatever you click, onto your mat. If you want to see the size of it over here, we can go into our properties or edit, and there it'll give you 100mm, which is 10cm. Louise just reminded me you asked me something on chat, so I forgot about it. We'll get back to you after stream. I wish it showed the comments in black instead of white. I can't see them very well because they are white on a very light. Sorry about that.
No lot you can do about that, is there, at the moment?
No. Yes, I should tell people how to change from centimetre to inches. I will show that in a second. I was just reading. Got an opportunity to buy a second-hand Cricut Maker, but debating a ScanNCut. Depends what you're going to use it for, Louise. For cutting wise, they virtually do the same thing. Your advantages of your ScanNCut over the Cricut Maker is the scan. And the software's a little easier to use, I think. I don't know what you think to that.
Now that they've updated it so that it can do things like offsets, it's
Well, they can
better
do it now,
than
can
was.
it?
They can do it now.
Hey, took its time. But yes, so if you don't like your measurements in millimetres and you prefer inches, you can go to Artboard and you click here and you can put it to inches, and you go back to your and there you go, so 3.94 of an inch, which is exactly the same. So thank you, Carol, for that one. So if we have our shape, we can just click it. Well, let's move my mat because it's on the hand still. So different ones across the top. So the hand one here actually moves your page rather than moving the shapes, and the arrow tool means you can then pick up items and move it around. So we can change the ratio on this. So we can put it to a 4-inch square just by typing in the number 4. The top X and Y just tell you where it is on your mat. So it tells you where it's sitting just on your mat. We have a resize underneath, which we can then do in percentages. So if you want to make it 110%, 130%, 40%, 150%, and the same going back the other way. So 50% would be roughly a 2-inch circle. And 150% is a 6-inch circle, which you can do that. You can change the aspect ratio, so if you didn't want a square, you can change it to a rectangle. Okay, that's one for Natty, definitely.
Can you open that for me? What's one for me?
Question.
Okay.
If you pull in a scanned image from a machine,
yeah,
say 6 separate die cut images, it comes in as one image. How can it be ungrouped?
Okay, so if you're pulling in an image, then what you would want to do is use your image tracing. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go to divide, and that's going to split it up into its component parts. So if you want to show calculations in, and then
I'll try. So they're down here, so they're your subtract, your remove, overlap, divide and weld. I'm just going to do an offset first and play with that a little bit. So if you want to put an offset on it, say an inch, you can have it going outwards or inwards, so depending on how you want it to go. You can tell it what sort of edges you want. Never really understood the advantage of changing the size by scale. Can you explain this please with an example if you don't mind?
okay. So for the best use for it is if you put a whole load of images on your mat.
Okay, I can do that. Hang on a minute. Let's start, shall we? So let's go one of those, 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 one of those.
And we're going to get you to use your imagination here.
One of those.
If you imagine that this is a 3D project, so a box or something like that, where you've got lots and lots of pieces, but you want to scale it all, and you can't fit it all on the mat, this is where scale comes in useful. So if you go to resize, so select all.
Select all. So Command and A to select everything.
Yeah.
Resize.
And then do it by percentage. That means that if you have multiple files, you know that you've resized that first one by say 50% to bring it down half. You can then apply that same 50% to your other mats, so you know that everything is staying in proportion and will connect up properly. That is when you would use your percentage.
There you go. So that's resized everything by 50%.
So that way it all stays in proportion.
I think it is. And then you can move it round again, so you know that it all fits on your mat. Which it does now easily, because it's done 50%. So if I now went back to my resize and thing, it would start again, that being now 100%, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So if I selected everything again, and then actually I want to resize it differently, it starts that now as 100%, so you'd have to think, well, originally it was
twice as big,
twice
so
as big,
you go to 200%.
and then up again, yeah. But be wary of that once you've clicked OK, it resets it back to that is now 100%.
So if you know that you're doing it across multiple mats, make sure you make a note of the percentage you did it by, because you can't go back and refer back.
Yes. Joe says thank you, that makes sense. Morning Julia. Hope you're enjoying your foil shield. Has anybody else arrived yet this morning? 'Cause I know they went out yesterday, should be there today hopefully. So that was our basic shapes. Next, whilst I'm waiting for the next question, we have our borders. So you have everything in there that you have on your machine. Some pumpkins and some bats. Then we have our words, or logos as they used to call them. So these are the pre-designed ones that they made for you, that you have that you can just drop onto the mat and resize to fit your piece. You know what was the one above? And Judith is Owen, it's absolutely great. Yay! So, I know Julia has hers because we hand delivered that one, so I know she has that one. Then underneath there you will have, if you have any of the packs, you will have the additional designs. So you have the paper piercing, the vinyl auto blade, and we still haven't put the
foiling kit.
the foiling kit on yet, so when we put that one on, another one will appear down here for the foiling kit and the different designs that come with it. But if you have any, then it will show you the designs that are just for that particular project. And again, for the vinyl auto blade, the detail ones.
While you're talking about the vinyl auto blade, I
Yes.
have a question for you.
Okay.
Let's say that you have multiple files when you bring them into Canvas and they're too big for the canvas, it just shrinks it and doesn't really tell you, does it?
Not usually.
So at that
Well,
point...
at least it tells you that it shrunk it to fit the mat, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't tell you what by or
No, by how much. Yeah.
So if you have the vinyl auto blade, do you want to show how you can get around that?
What with the tiling?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the advantage of the auto blade,
The vinyl auto
the
blade.
vinyl auto blade, sorry, is under our premium it comes as an option for tiling. So if your product is too big, and we can change it then to fit.
Yeah.
It's come up. Didn't
Do
used
you
to have that name.
Do you want me to show you how to set it up in the first place? So if we cancel that, if you go to your artboard, where you've got your artboard size, if you go custom size for tiling, then it
Just
gives you a huge, and you can use your width and height to actually control how wide that goes. So at that point, when you bring in your SVG, if it's too big for your mat, it won't care. It will just plonk it in. Or the stamp kit. Yeah.
We did the stamp. It didn't come with an activation code for the stamp kit, though, did it?
I think that might be because it was somebody else's stamp kit. So
Was it?
yeah.
I'm sure it didn't have one. But never mind. Anyway, so what we can do is if we put this over here,
I'll have to have a look
put
now.
that over there,
Got me wondering.
let's duplicate a couple. So to easily duplicate something, you just press and hold Alt, and it'll happily duplicate for you.
And Tracy says it did.
It did.
Yeah.
We didn't have one, so. That's
No,
it.
we had it kindly donated, didn't we?
We did, and they'd already had the. I think they'd already used it, so.
Oh, I got gesso in my tea.
Oh, you had gesso in your tea.
I don't know. At least I think it's gesso.
You.
Should I read
Just
it?
be careful. Yeah. Well, go and tip it down the sink or something, and I'll make you a fresh one when we're finished.
Thank you.
I don't know. Can't get the stuff. It said we didn't need to activate at the time. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So now that I have all these on here, how do I get it back to being so it has like? If I now go to premium and tiling, and it'll go. Oh look, there you go. So you need
Formats.
4 mats, and that's how we split it up. Yeah,
And then
that's
you
a
can
really
use
fun
your overlap function. If you're cutting something out of a big sheet of paper, for instance, your overlap can then be glued so that you join the pieces up that way.
See the bits edging in at the top here.
So as you overlap more and more, obviously it's going to cause you to have more and
More
more mats.
And you can also add your weeding boxes.
Should you feel that way inclined.
Yes. And you can play with the spacing, so you can have smaller spacing. Or you can have bigger spacing around your weeding projects, depending on how much space you want.
Which is useful if you are cutting something that is delicate. That's when you would up your spacing.
There you go. Put that back to naught and it puts it back to. Oof.
Sorry.
Vicious, you know. you're wondering, that keeps do for me in the back. If you're wondering why I keep going out.
You don't have a lot of room.
Yeah, between the two desks there isn't a lot of spaces there. What did we use the tiling function for? Poker table.
Yeah, we did a design with the poker table, didn't we?
Yeah.
Last time.
So that's
But
when
we
you
haven't
can.
done yet.
Yeah, you can play with.
But you can also use it for creating large boxes. So if you need a box that's bigger than your mat, then you can use your tiling function to actually do that and make sure that you do your overlap so that you can piece them together.
One of the big questions we get a lot about is the text and shaping your text. So I'm going to put some text on the board, and let's have nothing like self-promotion.
What did you put for shoe?
Well, ScanNCut for shield at that. Let's pick a font, so let's go for one of ours as well. So there are a couple of fonts that Natalie has created, and are single line.
Now you're showing off.
So let's use, what should we use? Which one do you like? Child's Play or
I'd prefer the other one.
Scripty?
Yeah.
Where is it gone? Scripty. Scripty modern or Scripty?
Scripty V2 that you're hovering over.
That one.
Yeah.
There we go. So that's Natalie's font. And then to shape it, so if we want that in a circular, like a logo sort of idea. So it goes round a design. So you could have your foil shield there, and then you could put your image in the middle of what your foil shield is. Just as an idea. Where it is overlapping mats, can you move them around? I don't know. Never tried that.
You have to manipulate your design to be able to do
Oh yeah,
that.
do it through the design rather than...
Yeah.
So if I want that to go, we can then go through this one here, which is fit to path. And it will put my design around the circle or the shape that I've picked. Now I can pull that round, so we can have it at the top, and then we can also play with the orientation of it, so we can put it, I don't know which way I like it. That's not too bad. Yeah. What about that way, and then foil shields up the right way, but we
So
just
if
playing
you
with
have
the
something
variations.
like if you have something like that where you want it to read up the right way both sides, then you actually have to do it through having two circles and two sets of text.
Yes. So shall I show that as well?
Yep.
So what we can do, so let's show how we do that. So let's delete that and start again. So let's put our shape in first. So we're going for a circle, but we want two of them. So there's now two circles there, and to prove that we can go to our layers, and there we are, we can see there's two circles. And select them both for a moment and just move them into the middle. So we've got to play with, and I'll leave them there for a second. So get some text, and let's put ScanNCut at the top, and then we'll grab with another text, we'll put foil shield at the bottom. There we go. So we want this one to go first. So we want this text to go around this shape. And we go into our functions and we wrap our text. And we want that to read across the top because that is our company name. And then we want our foil shield to go around the bottom. So we go back to our layers and we select that one, and then we select the other shape. And that one. And then we go back again. And then we go, and that one folds that way. And then we can turn that down to the bottom and go to our alignment. There we go, so you have your two outside edges. So that's how you do your text so it read the right way up, top and bottom. Oh, Linda's foil shield's just arrived. Yay!
Hooray!
That's good. So hopefully yours should be in the post, Debs, when it does arrive. So then if we're happy with our placements, we can use each one. Go to our edit and we convert to shapes. Then we can go to the bottom one, convert to shapes, and that locks it in place. Now if I'd have been clever and not a numpty like I just have, I'd have done a third circle for the actual text to sit round. Or I can just keep it because I know they're now both perfectly curved to a circle, so I can now pick it up. I can bring it a bit closer
Oh, it's an oval.
and have it as an oval.
Didn't quite get that centred there.
Didn't quite get it centre, but it wasn't far off. I can move it across a little bit so it looks like it almost was. And that's the advantage, that you can just play with it then and manipulate it. Again, if we want to make them different sizes, or if we want to do the resize by ratio, we can. So we can say we want to make it as big, and we can centre align it just so make sure it's as centre aligned as it's going to be. Cheaply. If you wanted to. So has anybody else come up with any questions yet that they thought that they might want me to answer or to play with? Don't know anything else we can see at the minute.
How would you set up somebody drawing different colours? So
Okay.
if they wanted to
And I
use
have
different pens.
as I only have a CM300, how do you transfer design, please? Okay, so with the CM300, so say that's our design, we can leave that on there. We can still go to export, so you go up to your file and export transform FCM file, so this makes it so it's suitable for your machine. We then click the top one, so export FCM file. And this allows you to save it to a USB to your computer If I had the USB, I would attach it to our USB, but I don't, so I shan't. And then you can literally just type your title in there, so I can put...
I can pass it to you.
That's okay.
There you go.
That's fine.
Show it properly. There you go.
That's okay. Okay. Have I got a spare socket?
Yeah.
It's not looking good.
Here we have.
Right now.
No, it's good, isn't it? 10 gang USB, still running out of space.
So if I go down now, I can change that to no name, which is that one, which has all our files on. And let's put that as text, because it's a text one. And then save, and it pops it on there. So that's how we do it. If you have a machine that is Wi-Fi enabled, you can just go to File, Export, and transfer file via the internet, and it will just patch it across. Important thing to note, if you just go to File and Save, it will save it as a Canvas project space file. So if we just go to Save, it pulls it into a different folder. I can leave it on the USB. So let's go push your logo text, and OK. But that saves it as a Canvas project file, so you can only open that in Canvas, and only Canvas desktop at that. You can't open the project files in the online version, can you?
No.
So you can only open them in the desktop version. That's alright. Anybody else? How are we doing? 20 minutes.
Did you know how to set it up for different pens? And
Oh,
stuff
different
like
colours. No. Okay. So scrapping that. So Nat is saying if you have lots of layers and so I'm going to put a few shapes on my mat and move them around a bit, just so I have a couple. I might overlap them a little bit, just so it gives you the idea that we have different bits, different colours. Nothing in particular, it's just a few odd shapes that I'm pulling out here, just to give you a design. Now if you wanted all 4 or 5 of those images to be different colours, you can on here actually set them as different colours. Now what I will say is in a moment when I click the colour chart, please ignore the little pencil crayons. Unless you have a Mac, you won't get these bits.
Everybody wants the pencil
Everybody
crayons.
wants the pencil crayons, yeah. If you don't have a Mac, it unfortunately doesn't. So our first one, let's say, is red. But we want this one green, that one blue, that one different blue, and that one yellow. There you go. And then you can see that you need what sheets you need and what different colours. And also if you have lots of different pieces, so if you then think, well, okay, I'm going to cut that out of that, I can put that to one side, I can put that down there, I can put that one in the middle, put that one down there, and then you know roughly where you need to lay it out on your mat. So a good note on here is to note that your squares here also line up to the squares on your mat. So that one is just over 4 inches wide and just over 4 inches deep. So I need to know a cut. I can place my red piece of card and cut it 4 and a bit by 4 and a bit. Same with this one. I can go, okay, so it takes up 4. If I put it in the middle, let's line it up to an edge. So again, that's a 4 by 4. So that's another 4 by 4 piece of card. That's 4 again by 4. So again, we can put a 4 by 4. 2, 3, 4. I'd go 5 with that one, so it covers the 5 by 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I'd probably go 5 with that one as well. So you could then put all your different bits of card onto your mat, and then you can just send it in one go and cut it as well. The other advantage, if you don't want to send it all in one go, if we go back to making it a dodgy looking shape that I created, flows down the path. We can also send them individually. So here where we have the eyes, you can turn off each layer. Now this comes in handy with multi-layer designs, and whatever is visible, so whatever you can see on your mats, if you can see everything, it will send everything to your machine. If you can only see the yellow octagon, I think I've put on, then it will only cut that octagon. So you can do each shape individually just by turning them on and off, which comes in really handy if you're doing really complex designs, multi-layered designs, and you need to cut each layer individually. Yeah, and absolutely, it's when you do the scan. It's why the scan is so helpful. Sorry, I was just trying to read that, Tracy, because my messages keep disappearing. Can you convert an FCM file to an SVG?
No.
No. There you go. As Natalie says, one simple answer.
Not in Canvas.
Not in Canvas, okay. You can open files from the online version into the old and desktop version. Yes, you can. Yeah. Okay. And Trish says the eyes and locks are two of my favourite features. They are, and the lock is the other one. So if you're happy with your placement of your square, but you want to move everything else around, but you don't want to move your square, you can put a padlock in there, and now that is not selectable. I can't select it, I can't move it, can't do anything with it. I can move anything else on the desk, on my mat, till I'm happy with it. And then when I'm happy with the placement, actually I like the placement of that one, so I can lock that one. I still want to move that around. I can't select that one now, I can't select that one, so there's two now. And even if I try and select everything, it will only select the ones that don't have padlocks, so I can move those three around. And until you unlock it, and then I can select them again. So again, another really helpful little tool. That one to be wary of is if you make something unvisible and it's not locked, and you do a select all, it will also select your hidden item.
Which can be a pain.
Yes, which can be annoying. So if you are hiding it because you're finished with it, be sure to lock it, and then it will take it out of the equation. That's interesting. If you have select all selected, and then you tick something to be locked, it takes it out of the group, but doesn't put it back if you unlock it.
Yeah, random.
Anything else that I've missed? How do you create a frame rather than putting shapes on top of each other?
Subtract.
Thank you. Morning, Rachel.
So then you can weld other shapes to it. So if you want to do like a word at the bottom of the frame.
Yeah. Okay, let me start again. Select everything, delete, and because that was locked.
Thought I'd lost my tea then.
No, do you put it in the kitchen to throw away?
Not like tea.
So let's put us a square on. Let's make it. Put it 5 inches. And then we want to do a frame, so we do an offset and we go inwards. And let's go 0.25 of an inch. Leave the original as is. That puts us a little frame around it. So that gives us our two. So of course we can then control both, and we go to subtract, and that punches your hole in the middle. So that now makes it so that is one shape. So if we go to our layers, it's one shape and it's a frame. So then if we wanted to add some text, let's just add a logo for a moment just for ease. Let's pop a door in. It's a bit big, but we'll shrink that down. So I'll line that up to there. Use shift. Do I need to say that? Could be a
Yeah, probably do.
Right, can you carry on for a second?
Okay.
Hello.
Right, so with where Ian's got to,
Oh, hello.
he's done his subtraction, so if I pop a bit of colour in the frame you can see it a bit easier. Just make sure that it's on fill selected at the top and we can drop in some colour. So there's our solid frame. Now we're going to take our word and we're going to weld it to that frame. So select both, we're going to go to edit and weld. And then if I pop that colour back in, you can see it's now all one piece, apart from you've got the line at the bottom of the R. So if you want to step backwards at this point, you can use Command and Z or Control and Z or go to undo until you go back to that point. Then you can just nudge it with your keys to that point where your R is going to overlap. Select it again and re-weld it. So when you're welding, you want to check that you have a fair amount touching so that you do get that nice solid weld rather than hanging by a thread. Now if you wanted to pop a photo behind that, what you would do at this point is then you could add a square and you're going to resize that so it just fits just inside, and that's the shape you can use to crop your photo. So hopefully that gives you some more ideas. Likewise, if you wanted to put a little tag loop, you could do that into the centre of your frame and then punch the same hole through your photo. There's lots of ways that we can use subtract to build upon a shape. Now I'm going to apologise at this point because I can't see comments anymore, so let me just grab my phone and I'll see if I can find the stream and answer any other questions that you may have. So this may take me a moment. And okay. So you're welcome, Heather. And good morning, Rachel, if we didn't say morning already. And feel free to ask any more questions. And that sounds like Ian might have finished on his phone call.
I've just finished, yes, sorry. How do you keep it frame? Heather says thank you.
Yep, done.
Yep. Did you put your door in and...
Yep.
Yeah, way, well done.
And even showed how to stick a photo behind it.
By creating the insert again.
Yeah.
So duplicating that. Yeah. Sorry. It was Innovate.
Oh right, okay. Yes, you needed to take that one.
Yes.
Okay.
So, are there any other questions before we go today? Very useful. Need to leave now, so catch you later. Okay, Thea, no worries.
So if you do have any other questions, then you can always answer at some point during the day. You've kind of taken over doing Facebook for a bit, haven't you, Ian?
Yep, so I will be. So even if it says Natalie's answering you, it's probably me. Because I tend to just use Natalie's account because it answers everybody easier than it does going to mine and coming back again and popping forward and backwards. But if you do have any questions, pop them up in the group. Go on.
ScanNCut and paper craft classes, courses and workshops by Planner Craft.
Thank you. Or you can put them in the Planner Craft group, or you can just pop them up. Just drop us a direct message and one of us will get back to you as soon as we have an answer for you. So I hope that's been a little insightful, and I think Natalie is back tomorrow.
Yes, doing PGG.
Oh yes, it's a pretty gets gritty one tomorrow. So it's going to be mixed media with some funky products. So hopefully you'll all enjoy that tomorrow, and then we look forward to seeing you then. Isn't it an offence to impersonate someone else here? I'm not impersonating, answering for. Natalie usually tells me what to write first and then I just answer. Don't you, dear?
Yeah. Well, usually I tell you what to write, then you ignore me totally, write what you want, and then I go, I didn't say that.
Yeah, I might have mine signed in as well, so it looks like it's me answering for a change.
Yeah.
So that's all right, Julia. You're more than welcome for the classes. They're always there to help. So if we don't see you before, we'll see you all tomorrow, and we look forward to that. So take care and bye.